information and news about Israel that we get back in here in Canada is almost always concentrated on tensions and conflict. But what we don't hear much about is the beauty of the country, or the very geography, and what an average day looks like for people who live in Israel. Today in the Canadian Expat, we go to Netanya, Israel. I have the pleasure of welcoming Jim and Merle Shuchuk. In 2005, they moved from Toronto to the resort of Netanya. Yes, they live in a beach resort in Israel. Jim and Merle, welcome to the Canadian Expat.
Hi Canada. Hi, Alan.
First of all, can you give us just a little bit of background as why you decided to move to Israel in the first place?
First time I was ever here was in 1977 as a volunteer on a kibbutz. But I always knew from that point on that one day I would come back and live here.
You left your heart in Israel, so to speak.
I did. I did. I don't like to speak for everyone, but I think for the vast majority of Jewish people, Israel holds a very special place.
You now live in a city that's known as the Riviera of Israel, right?
Yes.
Can you describe a little bit what... Okay.
He's looking it up. He looked it up.
I did look it up. Okay, can you describe a little bit about what life is like in Netanya?
The way that we live, well, we're retired, but what you've heard about Israel on the news, for example, is not what we live here. It's, day by day, it's very peaceful.
The actual location where we're living now is a relatively new community, about 9 years old. It's an area of luxury high-rises. We're in between the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, which we can see from our balcony and walk to, and a beautiful shopping mall, ladies, a beautiful shopping mall with everything, and it's a very special spot. You know, like Jim said, it really is a very cosmopolitan lifestyle here because there's people from all over the world.
I'm curious, and people that are considering the move to Israel, in particular, we're looking at Netanya because that's where you are.
Mm-hmm.
What does a typical day in the life of Jim and Merle look like?
Well, in the life of Jim and Merle, because we're retired,
sure,
Jim and Merle don't have to get up and fight the traffic. Those days are over.
Traffic, I might say, is one of the headaches working and living in Israel. There are a lot of cars, too many cars for the number of highways, but there are always new highways being built. And congestion on the highways is a problem here.
Yeah.
So first, getting back to what, somebody that would be considering the move, what sort of advice would you give to somebody that is considering that move?
Comparing Israelis and Israel with Canada and Canadians is not the way to come here. What you have to understand is that first, you need an open mind. And secondly, that the differences you see here to where you came from have very good reasons. It's not a matter of comparing one to the other, better or worse. The thing is that both are different, and both are different for good reasons. And so now when I consider living in Israel, I do not think of, I do not compare it to living in Canada, because I accept the differences.
My comment that I always make or write whenever I'm asked this is that, when the process is called Making Aliyah. I think I mentioned that before to you. It's called Making Aliyah, which means ascending. So for Jews, it's leaving the diaspora and ascending, coming home and ascending. And in doing that, I mean, it's all very spiritual and that's all very fine. But one also has to understand that wherever you're coming from, when you come here, you're in the Middle East.
Yeah.
You knew before. Everything you see, sight, sounds, tastes, of course, language, everything, hearing, everything is different. And, my suggestion would be for people who are considering to make Israel their home is to not, for example, if it's a Canadian, don't come here looking for Canada because you won't find it. You will not find Toronto in Netanya unless you find me.
Yeah. You've touched about some of these things already, but I'd like to go over, we've got this rating system, if you will. We've got 6 points.
Sure.
That I would like you to give me a rating between 1 and 10 for each of these 6 items. So I'll go through them one at a time. How would you rate the cost of living in Netanya?
It's high.
It's high.
It's high.
The cost of living from when we came here in 2005 to now, the cost of living has increased over the years, and since 2011, it's really increased a lot.
Okay, I would
say 5.
I was going to say 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
We're
so very expensive
because we're retired, we have pensions, but for Israelis, especially for young families in Israel, it's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's not cheap. We're not the norm, but I understand. I know that it's not easy for.
It's an expensive place to live.
It's expensive.
I'd love to hear your rating, but healthcare in Netanya and Israel in general.
Excellent.
A 10.
10.
10. Okay, great.
10.
Okay.
And that's I would say that's across Israel because it's a social service. I mean, nothing. It's the same wherever you live.
Universal healthcare.
Sorry?
Universal healthcare?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Private
and private if you want it.
Hospitals, private doctors are available, but it's an option. If you want to go private, you can go private. But every citizen of Israel has public health service.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Friendliness.
I love them.
I'd say they're very friendly.
They're very friendly, very warm.
Again, a high number. I don't know what sort of a number but
I'd give them an 8. I would give them an 8.
An 8. Okay.
I'll just to explain it. A lot of people, Israelis who are born here in Israel, they're called sabras, and sabras. There's also a fruit here called sabra.
Prickly pear.
And it's like a prickly pear on the outside, soft on the inside.
Okay.
And that's why they're called sabra, because, I know the aggressive Israeli and, the military and all, very true. But they are mush balls on the inside. So once you get through
in a positive way.
Yeah,
okay.
They really are very warm.
Very willing to help.
Very warm. I mean, here, your neighbors will welcome you in. You just knock on the door. Yes, what is it? What do you want? You want something? Come in. Have tea, coffee, dinner. Do you need? I mean, there's just and that happened to us from the minute we landed.
Amazing.
From the minute we were, not just where we are now, in Herzliya, neighbors, people willing to help you, always.
And how about any services that you might require from a consulate or embassy?
Okay, the consulate is in Tel Aviv. You know, I think it's fine. We've had,
Okay.
you know, when we've had to renew our passports.
That's the only time we've used the,
However, I've also registered with them, so of course they know we're here.
Good. Good.
When there's been any problems here, I get messages from the consulate.
Okay.
I think it's good. I would also give it at least a 7 or 8. I've never had an issue.
Awesome.
You know.
Jim and Merle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Hopefully
Our pleasure.
we'll see you here one day.
And to all those watching, thank you so much. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button, and it helps us a great deal if you subscribe as well. Until next time.